Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, guys, to my Love Island USA Season 6, Episode 18. And I'm back. I know it's late, but I wanted to check this episode because I do feel like they still got us, guys. They still got us. Exactly what I thought was going to happen happened, but they made sure to do it in a way that was different. I will say, I do like that this season they have definitely tried to change things up. They haven't tried to stay totally with the Love Island UK formula. They haven't tried to just take what Love Island UK has done and just do it with different islanders. They have definitely come here and made this just a different twist. So we had a recoupling, and it we will talk about it, but wildest thing I've ever seen them do. And wow. Wow. So we do see that Leah and Miguel chat in soul ties. Is that how the episode started? Yes. He basically is like, I don't think I've ever felt that deep about something. Like, that was a lot. And Leah says it makes her sad, but it just wasn't there. And they're talking about Connor leaving. And he says, well, you don't have anything to be sorry, because she does say, I'm sorry about that. And Miguel says he's happy where he's at. And she said, are you happy that I chose you? And he did he think that she would choose him? And he plays like he didn't. But he says, yeah, I'm happy that you chose me. Does tell her how beautiful she is. And we basically are seeing they are bringing a pretty good energy to each other. Not sure if I will totally believe this couple, but I can see why they are together. He does say, she does say, are you glad to not be sharing a bed with Liv? She was trying to say. And I'm glad that Miguel did not do what Connor did and tried to talk shit about Liv. He just says, I know who I'm glad to share a bed with. And they do kiss. And so Leah says she is happy to be with Miguel because she knows that it is not serious. He is not looking for that. And so he won't scare her off. And so it is good that she is self-aware. I do still think she's leaning into toxic tendencies. But she is self-aware that, you know what? I don't really want something serious. Miguel's not going to bring this. This is going to be just a good positive energy, and we can have a good time, and whatever comes. So I get it. We see Kenny and Janae chat on the balcony, and Kenny says, wow, things just move so fast here. And Janae says, I was coupled up with him and it didn't work out, but I do think he was a sweet person. So sorry to see him go. And Janae is such a kind person because Connor has not been kind to her name on the outside, so you know that. They chat about sleeping positions, and then Kenny says that he hasn't slept in a bed with someone in years. And she asks, well, what's your body count? And he says 40. And she says, oh, that's not too bad, not too high. He said, well, he was with his high school sweetheart for 4 years, and then he went to college. And he said he was like a puppy in college. She says, a puppy is crazy. And he says, yeah, but every girl is like a treat when you're in college. And she's like, well, at least you got it out your system. He said, yeah, you've matured when you're not led only by sex. And so Janae ITMs that the energy is bringing is so positive. It makes her excited for her day. She's not anxious. She's just happy to be there. And I feel so bad that she was having so much anxiety because of that entire situation between the Connor and Leah, between the recoupling and the guys making her feel like she shouldn't be there. Like I feel so bad that she ever felt that she should feel uncomfortable or have an uncomfortable energy in the villa. And so kind of like it pisses me off that those men made her feel that way. We do see Cass and Rob talk at the dock, and they talk about his outfit, and they talk about why she picked him. And she says because of the things he told him about himself. And the conversation they're having, again, is just so stale. They do talk about extreme sports, skydiving, blah, blah, blah. He says how he and Connor and Aaron are going to go motorcycling across country. And he does kind of invite her to do this with them. And they both agree that they should just see how their relationship, coupling, connection goes before they agree to anything like that. We next see Kendall and Nicole chat, and Kendall is saying, I'm gutted. Connor was one of the boys. And Nicole is like, yeah, it just doesn't seem real. And Kendall is like, no, I'm really glad you chose me. And Nicole says, were you surprised? And Kendall says, well, yeah, no, but was there just something that happened that made you make this choice now? And Nicole says, I just didn't think Miguel was genuine. And what you have been giving me, what I'm looking for, I just felt like it was more what along the lines of what I need. And I do feel like what she's saying about Miguel not being genuine, I don't know if it's genuine or just that he, unlike Kendall, he's not looking for anything seriously to settle down or to move past this. And so I do think it's fair to make that assessment that, not Miguel is genuine in that he genuinely does not necessarily want to settle down in this villa. And she's like, did you feel the shift? And he says, I did. And so Nicole does ITM. Kendall is just so comfortable for me, and I'm happy I chose him. So next we see Liv and Nigel chat. And Nigel is like, I feel like you are regretting your decision. And she says, what makes you think that? Is something I said? Hey, Danita, welcome. Just got to the Liv and Nigel chat. Tell me what's your thoughts about that, and let me know if you're going to be surprised at what I think about it. So she does say, well, what made you think that? Was there something I said? And Nigel says, I just feel like there was this energy shift. And she says, well, with everyone or just me? And he says, well, no, with you in particular. And she says, I don't understand. I just sent one of my friends home. It wasn't easy. And Nigel says, I understand where you're coming from with the fact that you just had to send one of your best friends home. I get that. I just don't want you to regret the decision. And that's what I'm getting from you. And Liv says, well, I'll own my shit. I had to do something for myself tonight, and it was very difficult. And if you're implying that I'm not all over you now, and Nigel's like, I'm not implying that. And Nigel ITM's Liv seemed very conflicted about her decision, and it made me question her choosing me and whether I even wanted to be chosen by her, if I'm gonna really be honest. Okay, Danita. You and I agree. Dania says, I think Nigel had every right to be upset, but you may feel differently. I agree. Hello, Azza. I agree. I do feel like he had every reason to be upset because my thing was, I said it in our recap earlier today. I was not understanding why Liv was freaking out so badly. She wasn't even the last one to choose. She was not the one that was literally sending Connor home. So if I am standing in by the fire pit waiting to be chosen, and you are like broken down about your choice for me, because that's what it felt like, about your choice for me, not about sending Connor home, because there was 4 other people left. I would have been like, wait, so do you like me? Did she like him better and wanted to save him, but she couldn't? Like, what was going on here? I don't understand what I just placed myself in. Now I understand everybody being upset in the villa. I just didn't understand why she couldn't properly make that choice if it was between me and 3 other people. And she wanted to choose Connor, she could have, but she didn't. Denise says, "Oh, good." Miss Love, welcome. Miss Love says Nigel may have approached it wrong, but Liv could have been a little less cold during that conversation. He was just expressing himself. I agree. I feel like he was just confirming that they were all good and that there was nothing about the choice that she made that had to be a conflict with their connection. Not the conflict being, oh, well, you like, why did you make a big deal about Connor going home? He wanted to make sure that they were still good to explore the connection, and the way she was coming off was so cold, and it's like, well, are you even okay with me still being here? Are you just upset that you couldn't save Connor? Like, which one is it? Danita says her whole speech was basically about sending Connor home. The tears, the dramatics. It was all for Connor, and it made Nigel feel like she didn't want him, which she didn't. And that's my other thing. My other thing is, at the end of the day, she was so conflicted because she really did not want to choose Nigel. She didn't like Nigel. The girls told her to choose Nigel because he at least wanted to try a connection with her, whereas Connor didn't. And so my whole thing is, yeah, you kind of did make it like his fault, because it's like, oh, well, I'm choosing you, but I really don't want to be with you. But you're the only one who's giving me energy in order for me to have to make this choice. So Nigel just says, well, we're in a couple now, and I just don't want you to feel conflicted about it. You making the decision just now didn't make me feel like you were comfortable about the decision that you were making. And as it says here, Nigel is trying to say, I feel like you don't like me. You're kind of being cold, like you regretted the decision. Exactly. I feel like that's all he was trying to say. Was it totally cohesive and coherent? No. Maybe he came about it the wrong way. Absolutely. But I understood what he was trying to say. And I just feel like everybody just felt like he should not have feelings, and that he should just take whatever they were giving him because he got saved over Connor, and poor Connor went home because of him. And so that kind of breeds to his point. And we all know, watching this show, that these people, when you send somebody home, they sit there and watch you and analyze you of whether or not you deserve to stay here over that person. Well, the other person could have been here instead of you, this cast in particular. So I totally felt him. I totally understand what he was saying. As it says, Liv making it seem like he yelled at her, oh, we're going to get to that, or was mean to her. I don't like it. It was very calm conversation about his feelings. I agree. We will get to that. So Liv says this was not Liv says, well, don't put that on me. And he is saying, maybe I'm not explaining it right. And Liv says, well, this was not an easy decision that we made. Who is we? Who is we? This was not a group project. He is talking about you choosing your connection with him. And so you're making his point. And how someone reacts to that in the moment don't take it to heart. This I do agree with, decision, like, but also she does say the next day, this was your first recoupling, you don't understand, emotions are high. And so I do agree with, sometimes you can't just take, what happens in the moment to fully to heart. I think it's not even just what happened in the moment. It was him trying to get a sense of what was going on moving forward, and she was cold to him, and she was not giving him that. She says, I had to make a hard decision. Why are you nitpicking at it now? I just chose you. So Liv was ITMing that. Liv says that at the end of the day, my friend went home and I'm not going to put on a brave face about it as if everything is fine. There's nothing against you. Don't take it to heart. She gets up and he says, okay, well, at least give me a hug. And she ignores him and he says, okay. And she says, I'm not affectionate. And Nigel looks at her like she's crazy. And I feel like this is part of Liv's problem. If like she just it's like just a thing of where she just slams down, and that's all she can focus on. And it's like, I do feel like so many of them are just super selfish and don't think outside of themselves, and how them and their actions and reactions affect other people in this villa. And I also feel like if it was a situation where they had to send home somebody who was not white, and or they had to, or Nigel was white, they would be a little less like, oh dude, you don't get to feel that way. That's just my opinion. Miss Love says she really made him look bad when she ran to tell everybody about it. He was calm, never yelled at her, and was not disrespectful. Agreed. Hi, TA. TA says, hey, Tamika and everyone. Liv did not want Nigel, plain and simple. She makes every decision to be a stage production when she does not want to tell the truth. It is weird. I have to agree with this. I think a lot of this was twofold. She actually did not want Nigel and was upset that she could not choose. I don't even know she had the option to choose between Connor and him. And so she did all of that, knowing that probably Connor was going to go home. And so I understand how he feels. And then to sit there and say, like, act like he was yelling at her is just so microaggressive. So she pulls Nicole and Kyler, and Nicole said, well, what did he have to be sad about? And Liv explains the conversation. They're like, oh, well, it's not about him. He should just get over it. How is it not about him when she had to choose him and that speech was supposed to be about him? It's like people who are dissecting Serena's speech about Cordell and saying, well, she didn't say how she felt about him. But she made this entire speech about Cordell and how amazing of a person he is, and that it makes her feel like an amazing person. I just don't get it. So we do see Cordell and Nigel chat at the dock, and says he just does not feel good. Like, it feels like the decision was between him and I don't get it. And I agree with him, because how is the decision between me and Connor, and there's like 3 other people? I did not ever know that you and Connor had any connection. Everybody after you is not breaking down crying about having to choose between the person they're choosing and Connor, but you are. So what did I miss? Please tell me so that I understand what I missed here. because I feel like I missed something. And he's like, well, then I go to tell her, and I feel like maybe it's my fault that you chose me, and you're just cold, and your body language is closed off. And Chantel did mention this in our recap earlier, that he Liv's also issue is she's constantly like either turned away, closed off in her body language, and also her eye contact. She does not make eye contact with the people that she is supposed to be getting to know or in a couple with. She did, like, at first she and Rob were like really good, like eye contact, and then slowly she started just like turning away from him. And we see this here with her conversations with Miguel as well, and now we're seeing it with Nigel. Like, she's just like straight on, not really looking at him, turned away, body just closed off. Cordell does say, though, and I do appreciate this, Cordell says, you are entitled to feel how you feel, but do understand she had to pick, because she's here for a reason, to find love. She didn't think that, if she didn't think that was possible with you, yeah, she could have just coupled up with Connor and as a friendship and waited for the next bombshell to come in. So don't allow this moment to ruin the potential of what you have. She probably just needed space, and she does not move like you move. And this is why we see that Cordell and Serena work so well, because he does have so much emotional intelligence. And I know people said, oh, well, he is, he's very, he's very, like, not highly intelligent, but I do feel like maybe what he doesn't have in, like, maybe book smarts, he, with verbal vocabulary maybe, or whatever. I don't know what his math skills are. I feel like he is mature and has so much emotional intelligence that when you have these conversations with him, he just is able to not only just put you at ease, by understanding your viewpoint, but also tracking somebody else's viewpoint to you, so that you understand both sides of the coin. And Precious, hey Precious says, I like Cordell giving Nigel advice. It was nice to see. Yeah, I mean, look at that. The 22-year-old had to give the 28-year-old advice. And I think he did a good job. I really do. So we do see also the conversation that everybody is kind of talking about in the chat. Rob comes over, and she makes it seem like to Rob that Nigel yelled at her. She's like, he was like, everybody's like, oh, we heard yelling, and she's like, yeah, he was over there yelling at me, and Rob's like, Nigel, and she's like, well, he was arguing with me, and I'm just like, yeah, clean that up, because he was never yelling at you. He did not raise his voice. Let us not do that. Danita says, yeah, Liv's combo with Nicole and Kyler and Rob was gross to watch. She made it seem like he was the big bad wolf in this moment, and how he needed to apologize. Yeah, it was very, I did not appreciate this. But Rob says, well, you did nothing wrong, which, okay, valid. She might not have done anything wrong in how she reacted. I'm not saying she wasn't entitled to her reaction. What I'm saying is that when she had that reactions, she needed to go to Nigel and be like, it's not you. Sorry about that. I know my speech sounded weird. I just realized that it was coming down to a point where I knew I had to choose me, and that meant that sending a friend home. But I'm excited about our connection, and you know what? I need some time to take a break and get my shit together, have a grilled cheese. We'll talk more about our connection, like either in bed or before bed. But again, she's immature. Like, I feel like whereas Cordell is emotionally mature and they're the same age, she is emotionally immature. I do think that Liv is a lot more probably street smart, but she does not know how to read a room. She does not know how to emotionally connect with people, and it shows constantly. Miss Love says Cordell isn't unintelligent just because he doesn't speak or act a certain way. He shows through his behavior and words that he's more intelligent than most of them. And Sarah Lowe says, yes, agree. So true. I totally agree. And Denise, hi Denise, and hi Sarah. Denise points out here, yeah, people love dissecting everything Serena does. It is annoying. It has gotten so annoying. But I agree. I don't feel like Cordell's unintelligent. I actually just feel like he's young. Um, I feel like for some people it just takes time to like vocabulary, and people tell you all the time, I don't spell good. So if you look at my notes, I have misspellings all over the place. I should be trying to figure out how to spell stuff. I don't spell well. I read a lot. I have a lot of knowledge, probably some stupid ass knowledge. I have a lot of entertainment facts. I have a lot of TV knowledge. But I do have a lot of like history knowledge. And when I talk to people, they're just like, oh my gosh, like, wow, like you have so much information that you put forth, and all this stuff, like, you remember so many things, and blah blah blah. But it takes me a while to like write a paper, write a narrative. So I get it. Like, I think Cordell just needs time to grow in that way. Yeah. TA says Liv took a page out of Grace's playbook from the Love Island UK, exaggerating Nigel's behavior to Rob. I agree. Very, very microaggressive, to the point that Rob is like, oh, do I need to like do something? And she's like, no, sorry. He was just arguing with me. And so Nicole said, that's wild. I'm sorry, Liv. And Liv says, I know how to pick him, don't I? And Rob says, he says, oh, whatever. Like, hey, if you came in here acting the way you act now, I think things would have been totally different. And we see Nicole make a face. I don't know if anybody else caught Nicole making a face when he said that, because it's been very clear. I said this earlier, very clear that he is moving to Liv. And I think we all also said the reason is because he is sexually attracted to Liv, and that he sexually, how do you say it, like objectifies her, and that he's probably like, well, hey, if I'm gonna want to be with somebody in a couple, I could just be with Liv and we can have sex or whatever. Like, you can clearly see what he's trying to do. Hi, Mad. Mad said that true, I saw it. Nicole couldn't hold back. And she couldn't. Yeah, you definitely saw it. Liv says, well, thanks. But everything happens for a reason. And again, I wish when people made statements like this, they stood on business and actually stayed with that going forward. But we see she doesn't. Bedtime happens, and Kendall is so happy to still be here and happy to not be in that triangle. Miguel is happy, and Cordell says, you're buzzing. Your ears are turning red. He's there eating, he's there dancing. He is happy to be with Leah. This is the first time I've actually seen him happy about his couple, to be fair. And I do feel like he originally wanted Leah. He just did not go for her for whatever reason, whether Connor robbed the situation. But I think he is happy to be coupled up with her now. Nigel, because he doesn't seem to care that he ain't coupled up with Nicole. Nigel does say that he is grateful to be here and for Liv to have chosen him. He just feels uncomfortable. And I told again, valid. I feel it's valid. Leah is in the makeup room with the girls and she is putting on makeup before bed. And the girls make fun of her because it's obvious that she wants to make a good impression on Miguel. And so we see the difference between when she actually likes the guy and when she doesn't, because she didn't do any of this for Connor. Sarah says, I think Rob was securing a vote to stay with Liv if it came down to a revote. Now, I don't know if he, this is my thing, I don't know if he knew that a vote was coming. What I think he was doing was securing that he had a actual connection in the villa, an actual person who still wanted him, because he can't use Leah anymore. We see lots of cuddling, and then we do see Kendall and Nicole, Aaron and Kyler are making out. Kyler gets applause for her speech. They talk. Oh, so this is the next morning, and Kyler gets applause for her speech. And I was like, really? We're applauding her speech? I thought Serena's speech was better. But we do know they chop speeches up. I was just like, okay. Alrighty. Y'all are really pushing this Kyler Aaron agenda. We don't even have. Is there a couple name for them? Has anybody actually even built a couple name for them? Which says to me, we are not fully invested, guys. If there is no combined name for these two, are they even a couple? Because we are not invested. Let us think about that. So they do talk about cuddling at night, and we see Kendall make Nicole coffee and breakfast. And the girls ask Liv how she's doing, and she's like, I am sad, and then I thought about this, and she's like, and I was just pissed off. Okay, see, Danita agrees with me. We do not care. Yeah, the Kyler and Aaron agenda, not there for me. Denise says they are fake and boring. I agree. Liv says, the girls say, well, let's see if he apologizes to you. Now, do I think that Nigel should have apologized to her? Yes. But I also felt like Aaron should have apologized, because like the way he confronted the girls, even in before, like a decision was made and you're confronting, and yes, I agree, you don't need to be confronting about decisions. But I understood what he was saying about her not making him feel settled about the connection. Taylor says, oh, in the moment like that, when your emotions are heightened, it's just not time for a man to act like the biggest baby. And I say, Kyler, you would know, right? Because your man had a full-on tantrum and meltdown like a fucking toddler at the last vote. So you judging anybody is actually hilarious. TA says Rob is playing the game very well. He continues to make sure he has a connection strategically. He also mentioned he missed Andrea and made sure the cameras heard him. That's what I'm saying. He's slowly moving in a manner to that he can move on. But I still miss Andrea. This is all still about Andrea. Stuff like that. But he really is just like figuring out a way to maneuver his way through the villa, in my opinion. He's doing it all on purpose. So yeah, I agree with this. Miss Love says, I am so not interested in what Kayla and Aaron have going on. I hate that I saw so much of them this episode. Agreed. And I actually started getting worried because we barely saw Janae and Kenny, and I was like, and then we get this part where Liv is asking Cass how was her night, and she said she got good cuddles, a couple. And Janae, they said, how was your night with your husband? And she's like, here you guys go again. Here you go, jinxing us. And Kyler's like, oh, but you're glowing. Did you get a kiss? And she's like, I don't want my first kiss to be in bed. And I just feel like I get how she feels, because she was so hopeful and so into her connection with Connor. And it felt like everybody was supportive of her connection. And then the minute that he dumped her, everybody like turned on her, and it's like they were good like really 1 second, and then not good another second. So I get her. Miss Love says Rob thinks he's better at the game than he actually is. Just because he's able to manipulate the villa doesn't mean the audience is fooled, so he'll stay in the bottom. I agree, because while I do think him and Liv could ride this out, maybe, I don't see anybody rebounding from all the things he's done to this point. And I feel like, I think I said it like a couple recaps ago, I feel like if he had left with Andrea, whether they stayed together or not, he actually might have gotten a bigger audience up from this, but I don't think this is all playing well. Liv is pissed with Nigel, but they go for a chat, and Nicole says to Aaron, oh, I hope he apologizes. And I'm like, Nicole, did we ask you? So they do talk about how the night was, and someone was snoring. Apparently it was Miguel. And she asks him how he feels now. And he says, well, he feels better, but after thinking on it, he realizes how selfish he was. He was just thinking about how he was feeling at the time. And so he does realize he needs to apologize. So he wants to say, I'm sorry. And now Liv says, well, yeah, your feelings are valid. And we do see Cordell and Serena are hugged up watching from across the villa. And they're like, oh, what is his body? What is their body language? And Cordell says, oh, his hand is on his chin trying to figure out Liv's body language. And Serena's like, yeah, but no, Liv looks like she is over this conversation. Cordell says, yeah, she looks like she's about to shank his ass. And they both bust out laughing. I thought that was entirely cute. Liv tries to explain, it was your first recoupling, but just so you understand, it's heightened emotion. Sending a friend home, nothing is never easy. Nothing against you. Rachel, hi Rachel. Hey, that Cordell and Serena scene was too cute. It was. Danita says, I love how all of our Serena and Cordell moments today were them goofing off. Yeah. They do agree that it's a new day, new conversations, and Liv ITM as well. She's happy he acknowledged him being selfish. She really doesn't feel like anything is there though romantically, and it's like that's the point. Like, you don't like him romantically, so you can't take his feelings into consideration. And the person who left was your friend. You barely know this guy, and so instead of trying to be introspective and looking outside yourself, you were just in your feelings. And I feel like his feelings were valid. His feelings were just as valid as anybody else's in this villa. Period. Precious says, I love seeing Cordell and Serena's playful side. Yes, me too. So Liv says, well, what's your plan? He said, well, I'm chatting to you to see if there's anything there romantically. And she's like, She still does not tell him that there's nothing there romantically for her, or, that she is trying to still connect with him. So I love how when people do this, people want to pick and choose how fair, like who gets to do stuff like this and who gets it held against them. Just to point out. Leah says Leah and Miguel chat. They talk about scary movies. Leah likes movies in general. There's a theater in her home with a popcorn machine that she and her sister built. And he was just marveling at that. And Leah says she really likes Miguel. He's very touchy-feely, and she normally says that, she's not touchy-feely. And I was like, yeah, but you did the same thing with Rob. You weren't touchy-feely, but you were letting Rob be all over you. I need you to not make statements that are no longer true. And he says, well, what do you think about the bombshells? And she's like, oh, yeah, I like them way more than you. And they laugh. And they both agree that they are the only ones that they want to get to know that are currently in the villa. And the key word here is currently in the villa. Presley says, I'm tired of Liv. If she was that miserable, she should have picked Connor. I that's what I agree. I'm glad she didn't. But yeah. Because you're just making us all miserable because you don't like the decision that you made. Kaz and Rob chat, and their chats are so dry, guys. They're so bad. And it's not for lack of trying on her part. It's just Rob is terrible, and he wants really nothing to do with this girl. He got to stay. That's all he wanted to do. And now he's on to his next mission to stay in the villa, to get to Casa Amor or whatever, or the end or whatever. I really hope, like, some of these people, they cannot be in the end, guys. We need to figure out how we need to make that happen, and that is Rob, some of these Australian and British people. We can't make that happen. Danita says, I felt for Cass this whole episode. I did too. I do think she was trying. She just didn't realize. I mean, she did say that he was a snake, but she didn't realize how big of a snake. Sarah says, I did feel for Cassidy one night, and she's voted out. Not fair. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it earlier. Chantel was even saying, like, we didn't even get to see these couples' actual connection. We were just dumping them on potential compatibility, nothing else. Miss Love says Cass was too normal for the weird agenda of Rob, and he makes everything weird and awkward. I agree, because we do see here, he says, you remind me of a bee. And she says, why? Because I keep bopping around. And he says, oh, yeah, you can't stop moving. And she's like, well, I'll settle down. And he says, I didn't say I didn't like it. And she's like, I just don't think you get my humor. And he's like, why you say that? She's like, you don't get when I'm making a joke. And then they talk about snakes. And this is when she called him a snake, because she said I was sitting beside one. And she says, and he says, how was last night? And she says, well, I like to cuddle, but I didn't want to cuddle too much. And he's like, wait, I don't understand. Say that again. And she repeats it. And he's like, so you like to cuddle, you didn't want to cuddle too much? And she's like, why? And she's like, I didn't want to, like, make it a thing. And he's like, oh, yeah. Good call. And then she just, like, jumps up and leaves. And I was like, yeah, I would leave too. Because why? Why are you making all of this so weird, Rob? Danita says, production won't let us get rid of Rob. We keep trying. They keep taking it from us. It's literally that. It's the same thing with Joey, Essex, and Jess, like in the UK. We've got these producer plans and these producer narratives that they're just like, oh, we need this person in the show, so they have to stay. And no matter if the audience doesn't like them or not. Oh, we'll just keep him around. He'll be the villain. I don't want him as a villain. I want him out my show. I want this. I've seen him for 2 seasons now. The man can go. Aaron carries Kayla to Soul Ties, and then they have a conversation because he says, Precious, Rob is Jeremy 2.0. I at least like Jeremy, though. Like Press, like Jeremy wasn't terrible. Like he wasn't like manipulative and gaslighty. Is like Rob is like he's a mental drain on watching the show. I'm dead serious. Aaron carries Kayla to soul ties, and he says he's not good at talking about his feelings. He's better at expressing them. Because he just lets loose. And I said, oh, this explains so much actually. You, unlike some other people, have no emotional intelligence, and you can only just burst out what you're feeling, whether that's right or wrong, whether it impacts somebody or not, whether it's harmful or not. This is not good. And the fact that he does not see that is not good. I mean, how do you say it? Maybe a balance of the two might work, but not all of this that he be doing. And then it also feels like he's controlling. Precious says Jeremy had 9 lives. And Danita says, but at least we didn't like Jeremy. We didn't dislike Jeremy. We just felt like he was giving us nothing. Rob is a problem. That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't mind Jeremy. I didn't think he should be there for that long. I did end up voting for him because I refused to vote for Olivia. But I do feel like, oh, he's okay. He's cool. And I've met him in person too. And he was cool. I will say that. Not what Rob is giving us here, guys. Not what Rob is giving us. And Presley is saying they want Rob there because he's chaotic. Yeah. He's basically they like to light a match, and he is basically working right now as the gasoline or the fuel for the villa to enact chaos. They need him in Casa Amor to do whatever with the boys. I'm over it. Miss Love says, once again, when it comes to Aaron and Kayla, next scene. And Presley says, I'm so disinterested in Kayla and Aaron. They make my ears bleed. I'm so glad it's not me. Sometimes I'm watching this, I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not feeling it. I don't get it. So thank you guys for letting me know it's not just me in this. But she also does say that she can help him. And I was like, no, Kayla, you should not be trying to help this man get in tune with his emotions and be able to express them properly. He needs to go to therapy. But he says he's basically just trying to say that he is in love with her, on the way to being in love with her, could be in love with her, has love with her, but doesn't want to say he's in love with her exactly. Something about love, 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 but not the word actual love. She says, well, yeah, I feel the same. I said, you understood what he just said? Because I didn't. TA says Rob is on his own island and his act has gotten so exhausting to watch. These producers give us a break and take him. Please, producers, give us a break and take him off our screen. But not going to happen. They need him in Casa Amor. Yep. Rachel says that I think production is doing a lot of foreshadowing of what is to come with Kayla and Aaron and Casa. I have to hope, because I personally have been saying I feel like Kayla is going to go mad in Casa, having not have Aaron in her ear so much. She does say here that she is not looking to settle down. She's not rushing to settle down. She's not looking for to have children right away, whatever, get married. But she does also say that she feels the same. She does also say that she can, you know, has a lot of love for him. He says, I can see myself falling in love with you. She says same. They kiss. Kayla does say too, like she feels like $1,000,000. And you know, Killer does also say she's scared and they mutually agree not to break each other's heart. And again, I do feel like this kind of comes off as foreshadowing. So we're gonna keep watch. Um yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know. I give up on them. TA says Killer and Aaron are rehearsing already for the finale and they are a snooze fest. Precious says Kayla and Aaron is getting more force. Focus? I think you mean focus. And I do think that they are focusing on them because they want them to win. Denise says, I think Kayla deep down wants to explore other connections. I agree. And Denise said, them saying, I see myself falling in love with you. You could be my boyfriend. No more kissing others, I think is the foreshadowing. Yes, I agree. And Rachel says, especially giving Aaron's question to Kendall about his and Kayla's lack of test. I agree on that too. And Presley says, I cannot take Kayla screaming and jumping up and down. Oh my God. I literally took no notes on her pulling, which happens next. Kayla pulls Liv. She tells her Liv is happy for her. They jump up and down the villa. I literally took no notes. It was so annoying. Rob and Aaron chat. And Aaron says, how do you feel about Cass? And because he just wants to know, do I need to worry about this girl? She's gonna come and interrupt our connection. And Rob says, well, he doesn't know. He misses Andrea. I say, oh God, that girl's name is still in here. Jesus God. And he says, but he does want to chat to Liv. Over the last 3 or 4 days, he just feels like he just wants to be close to her. And Aaron said, oh. And he's like, oh, they're this like kind of up and down connection. It's weird, but oh, it could work. And I was like, of course you would stand beside him working with Liv. Mary says, I'm confused why Kayla was excited because Aaron seemed to be saying a bunch of nothing. Literally. That's why I said you understood what he said. He said he almost could possibly think about maybe possibly at some point loving you. Possibly. He might say the words eventually. Maybe. Like that's what she was excited about. It was odd. They talk about Kyler and he said, I think I'm near loving her. Near. And Kyler does tell the makeup room about their conversation. They sing the kissing song. And Aaron says to Kendall, do you think it's bad that I've stuck with Kayla for so long? And Kendall says their tests just haven't come in. And we know that tomorrow begins the test. So I do think it's foreshadowing. I think probably Casa would have started maybe yesterday for them. No. When did we vote? We voted Friday. So they would have done the dumping Friday. And so Casa might have started either late yesterday or today sometime. So maybe they already know stuff that's happening, or maybe they just want to show it. We'll see. Yeah, and since the kid, okay. Serena says, I really like Cordell, guys. Like, I don't feel like I show him enough, like how much I like him. And I know it's because I'm scared of letting guys in, but guys, I really, really, really like him. And the girls say that they love to hear it, and they love that for her. And I love to hear it, and I love that for her too. And I do hope that she figures out a way to express it, because I think what her issue is she does not want to overtly express it in the physical. And so I do think that's why she wrote that speech the way she said it. um and I also think that she is scared to like fully commit to him. And like anybody's heart gets broken, either she gets played or he gets played because she finds a better connection. And so I totally understand how she's feeling in this moment, because you want to, like, if I've been there where I really like a person and I just don't know, because I'm scared how to say to this person, I really like you or I love you, which is what Aaron was trying to say. And at some point, you just have to go with the feeling, go with how like everything is happening, and just do it or say it. And however that works for you. So we do see Cordell looks at himself in the mirror. I think he has his hair in a ponytail. I think he changed his shirt, unless they did that whole scene out of order. They come down the stairs and Serena and Cordell are matching and they're holding hands, swinging. He tells her he likes the little vest that she's wearing and he loves her mini skirt. And I just love all these little moments that we got with them in their couple. So we do see Kaz pull Leah. And when Kaz pulled Leah and this entire conversation happened, I said, oh, Kaz is going home. Mary says, I'm confused. Oh, we did that. Denise says Serena might be scared of getting played on TV. I've said this. Again, Serena is from the same area as KK and Destiny. I do feel like I do feel like she's concerned about being a KK, but I also think she doesn't want to come off as fully like Destiny. So she's trying to find a balance between the two. And I do feel like she's balancing being between the two, whereas she is a slow burner, not to quit, like quick to physically get into it with a guy, but also like take her time. And the thing is, she just found a guy who allows that for her to happen. Which works. Whereas like I feel like Destiny is also not doing anything on TV that is too overtly sexual. And I think that is I think she watches the show personally. I think she understands how the show works, and I think she's trying to find that balance between the two. And I understand her. I do. Because you don't want to come off overtly sexual, and you also don't want to come off as a prude. So you have to figure out how to do both and make connections. Precious says, I hope Serena expresses her feelings to Cordell as well. TA says, so glad for Serena letting her guard down for Cordell. I believe she likes him. I personally believe she liked him, but I always believed she liked him. I always believed they had chemistry, and I always believe they have a connection. I just think that she is scared. She also has been love bombed. And so I do think her experiences are breeding into her just how she is handling things in the villa. Tasha agrees. Hi, Tasha. Denise says, I fear production heard Serena say she wants to do more for Cordell to show she's into him, and they're going to halt the conversation so he doesn't get it into Casa. So he doesn't go into Casa closed off. We know how production does us. I do agree with this. And we know that they play these games. We talked about it very much in depth earlier. If you missed that part of the recap, I do feel like it's possible that she could close things off with him, but they would get interrupted. It's kind of like what they did with Cinco. He was going to tell Cash he wanted to be with her, and production sent them away. At the time too, Cash was not in a couple with him, so it wasn't even possible for them to recouple together, or even come back to each other after the recoupling of Casa and More. So right now, as long as they're still in the couple, I'm just gonna hope that as somebody said, like last season, when Hannah got whatever evidence she got, or she saw the little bits that they tried to like make her see about the person that she was with, she's like, "Oh, what does this mean to me? I'll just wait until I trust him, and I'll just wait for him to to tell me what the situation is when I get back to the villa. Otherwise, like." I'm not going to sit here and break down. I'm a bad bitch, and he like if he did whatever, he did whatever. That it got shit to do with me. I'm not changing the way I'm handling this. And again, to be fair, she was absolutely correct in the way she handled that. And I do think that Serena, if Serena and Janae both watch the show as much as I think they both do, I think they both will understand the manipulation tactics. I do feel like she probably will explore, but I do feel like if she does not find a better connection, she ain't coming out of that place without one, with one, regardless of whatever Cordell does. Because I feel like she wants to stay true to herself as possible. So I can't see Serena bringing back a connection to be petty, bringing back a connection just to bring one back. Like I just don't see that with her. And that's what they would need to fully make this work. That's what they got with Dami in India. That's what they got with some other couples, and that I don't see that here yet. But we have one more day of conversation, so we'll know tomorrow. So Leah and Kaz talking. She asks her about Rob, and Danita here agrees. And she says, well, she's sorry to talk to her about it, but he's like a hard nut to crack. And Leah says, it's totally okay. You can talk to me anytime about it. And Cass says, I just think he's so sweet. And Leah agrees. Leah ITM, she does care for Rob. You know he hates her. And Kaz thanks Leah for being her friend. Says the ladies from PPG have welcomed her with open arms, but she loves Leah. And Leah says, I love you too, and I want you to be happy. Never in my wildest dreams, like I knew from this conversation Kaz was going home, but never in my wildest dreams did I think they were going to do the shit that they did at the end of this to make that conversation so pronounced. Woo! Denise says Serena is going to stay loyal to Cordell and vice versa. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I never put stock in it, but I just feel like both of them are very true people to themselves, and so whatever they do, they will eat, in my opinion. It is what it is. The girls are gonna go hard for Cordell, and this is what, like, again, when Nicole and Andrea came in, I said the same thing I'm gonna say now. Cordell has already stated, like, if you are sitting there talking about his brother, if you are sitting there not interested in what he has to say, if you are sitting there dealing with his adjacency to fame, he will ghost you. So these ladies can come in there and go hard for Cordell, but I have a feeling they're gonna go hard wrong. You can't just be thirsty. You have to genuinely want to, like, I can understand maybe one or two of them might be like, oh my God, I really want to, like, get to know him. He seems so sweet. I can see that. But there's some of these women that are coming in here. They're like, oh, we're going for Cordell. I know it's because he's a fan favorite, and you know that his brother is Odell Beckham Jr. Because otherwise you wouldn't care. He's 22. TA says, I saw the Casa Boy guys, and I would be shocked if Serena would couple up with any of them. Same. So we do see Rob meets with Liv, and he says, Olivia, can I pull you for a chat? And Matt agrees here. And she says, sure. And he asks, how's Nigel? And she says, I think he's good. And they agree he's a nice guy. And Liv says, nice guys wear a thick shell. And Rob says, I never want to be viewed as a nice guy. You think? Um, and Rob makes statements like this often, and I feel like it's telling. He tries to tell these people he is a villain. He is not a kind person. He is not cool, and they aren't listening really to what he's saying. He's telling you the type of person he is. Y'all ain't listening. Liv says, why? As Matt says here, it's a warning every time. Every time it's a warning. And every time they don't listen, every time they're just like, oh, you're so funny and cute. It's not funny nor cute. Rob says, because you can only let people down. This says so much. This is so much. He does not want to be responsible to anybody because he knows he's a bad person. Miss Love says, Rob said that like any of us actually believe he's a nice person. The problem is the people in the villa do. That's the problem. Liv says, true. So you start as an asshole and you end as a saint. Rob says, well, I wanted to talk to you. Rob says, I've been feeling you. And Liv says, you know what? I was going to choose you in the recoupling, but Kaz got to you first. And so they both just like really agree that they want to get to know each other better. And this is also when I was like, oh yeah, Kaz is going home. TJ says, I think Liv is going to fall for Rob and may stick with him to the end. Well, so this is the only other thing. Unless there's a recoupling tomorrow, they're going to go into Casa probably single, these two. But I can see her coming back single and not choosing a connection, and because she wants to eventually get with Rob, kind of what Olivia did season 3. Miss Love says he is letting her know what he's all about and she won't listen. Every time, guys, every time. Aaron and Kyler chat and they says, I can see you. And she says, I can see you being my boyfriend. I just wanted to tell you. And he said, oh, that's a good expectation to have. And she said, okay, well, what about you? And they both agree that at this point, with the connection that they have, they don't think they'll be kissing anybody else outside of any challenges or in any challenges. They are just focused on each other. And I said, I will believe it when I see it. Matt says, I think there's an alliance between Kyler, Aaron, and Liv and Rob. It seems like it's been brewing in the background. I could also believe this, which is why I need them all gone. I need them all gone. Nicole gets a text. Actually, I might have to use this on my agenda to get them all gone. I actually put this out in the ether or to the internet so that it spreads so people will look at them side eye because I can believe it and I need them all gone. Nicole gets a text at this point, and Islanders, please gather at the fire pit immediately. #real talk. Serena gets a text and it says, America has been voting for the most compatible couple. They all start freaking out. I know somebody was like, oh, I don't know if these texts are actually a good thing or a bad thing at this point. And I was like, yeah, usually it's a bad thing. Unless you want to be recoupled, then nobody's going to be dumped. So they do stand. Oh, Rob gets a text that says that those with diffused votes risk getting dumped tonight. They do stand. And Cordell is the first text, and he says the first saved couple in no particular order is Leah and Miguel. So Leah stands think that Miguel and her are the best couple since life spread, and they've been bigging them up. So not surprised here. And they are surprised though. Nicole is next, and she is next to read Janae and Kenny. And Janae was so excited and happy. She could not believe it. I'm just so happy she was not in the bottom. I'm just so happy that she got to feel like, oh, the audience might like me. The audience likes this connection. I'm so happy. So I'm so happy for her. Tasha says Liv is pulling Nicole in that group too. Liv only says I love you to Kayla and Nicole. Yeah. Mad says the Tears for Connor gave it away for me. We didn't need to cry that hard for him. For real. It made me side eye. All of them so hard. Miss Love says Leah stands are loyal. They sure are. Matt says I'm so happy she felt the love. Me too. Me too. TA says yeah, so happy for Janae. So we see next. Serena has to read a text, and the next couple saved was Kayla, and Aaron. I was like, okay. And so then Kendall gets a text, and it says only 2 more couples are safe. And the next couple safe is, I said, it better be Serena and Cardell, or I'm rioting. And thankfully, it was Serena and Cordell, and they are happy to still be there. Irene says Leah needs to go home. At this point, I give up. I just hope she doesn't win because 13-year-olds are voting for her. Miss Love says Janae deserved a good moment at that dumping. She did. So the next text is Liv gets the text as the 5th and final couple that is safe is Nicole and Kendall, which leaves Rob, Cass, Liv, and Nigel all vulnerable, and they must now stand in front of the fire pit. And we hear Serena say, "We save Liv" to Cordell. And I kind of felt bad for Cass, but also valid. Serena, valid. Listen, Serena is nothing but loyal. If nothing else, Serena is loyal, guys. I'm sorry. People want to act like she's not, but the girl, when it's time to stand on business, Serena is loyal. Leah says, "Oh, you are now vulnerable. 2 islanders will leave, but that decision is up to your fellow safe islanders." And then the next text that comes is, "Safe islanders, stand behind the individual that you want saved to stay on the island. The ones with the fewest votes will be dumped." And I was just like, yo, why would you do this? First of all, we all knew how it was going to end up. Also, it's just mean. I thought that they were going to make like the couples all get into their couples and like, go around and give one vote for who they wanted to save. I did not know that they were like, because they were trying to figure out, they're like, okay, is it individual or couple? I thought they were going to have to go around and pick and choose a boy and a girl to vote for. I think this is worse. This is worse. This is worse than that. And we've seen that. They did it last season. We see them do it season like 2, season 3. Like, this is worse than that. This is worse than that. I'm sorry. Serena has chosen to go first and then stand behind the islander you want to save. And she, of course, chooses Liv. She already told us. Matt says, Serena don't play about her friends. She does not, and I rate it. Danita says, what was up with Aaron kissing Serena on the cheek when she read off her and Kyler's name, his and Kyler's name? I don't know. He kisses everybody on the cheek. He's also European. Might be a European thing. I don't know. Miss Love says, Serena stays giving Cordell instructions on who to save without pause. She's taking no risks. Yeah. I don't blame her. Matt says this was brutal for no reason. TA agrees. The production was messy. B says, why do Aaron and Kayla seem so fake? Like I can't put my finger on it. Why? I'm not buying it. Leah and Miguel have more chemistry, and I'm not buying that relationship either. Fear. Because we've been saying that this entire recap. Something about Aaron and Kayla just does not come off as genuine. Something about them does not come off, and I can't say it's because they haven't explored, because I watched couples who've been together since the beginning to the end and never explored, and I'm just like, oh, I just love them, and I know that, like, even if they're not my favorite, like I get it. If they win, I understand. Like, this is not them. This is not them. I don't know what that's about. And I agree about Leah and Miguel. They have more chemistry with them, and I don't believe that relationship either. I said the same thing. Miss Love says this was just mean. Production was doing too much. Precious says this dumping was savage. Denise says this was so sad to watch. Cash should have at least gotten some big vote. We're going to talk about that. Rachel says they should have said this kind of vote for when it's mostly OGs up there. Having them do this with the new bombshells were heartless. You know what, Rachel? I like your way of thinking. This definitely, if they do this again, this definitely should have been during an OG vote, meaning it's only OGs or like towards the end. This was crazy. Danita says they knew nobody was standing next to Cass and only Kenny behind Nigel. Brutal dumping. Hi, Haley. Haley said just finished the episode. I'm sad Rob didn't go home, even though I knew he wouldn't. But hi. We knew. Matt says that Aaron just gives us scammer vibes. He does. And I know people are trying to say it's because, he was on Traders. It's not because he was on Traders. I liked him on Traders. Even on Traders, I thought he had a hard time in even playing that game. Here he comes off as not like playing a full-on game, not really into what he's doing. Something's so fake, and then he's controlling on top of it. It's just. TJ says, yeah, it's weird that Aaron can show his emotion feelings with the guys, but it's having a tough time with Kayla. Like, he doesn't like her as much as people think it, in my opinion. See, that's what I'm saying. It's something so false about the way he treats and reacts and handles and deals with Kayla, as opposed to how he acts and reacts and deals with the men in the villa. It's odd. Denise says, Aaron bring it up to Kendall if he's explored enough. Perfect opportunity coming up. I agree. Ms. Love says Aaron is controlling and inauthentic. I mean, I hate to chalk it up to that, but it feels like that. So next we see that Liv is chosen by Serena, and Liv says, I'm sorry you have to do this. And Serena says, it's okay. I love you. And Kendall gets the same text. And as we figured, he's going to choose Rob. Janae is next, and she chooses Liv. Kenny chooses Nigel. Kayla chooses Liv. Aaron daps Nigel, but does choose Rob. We never thought that was any different happening here. Hi, Mary. It's okay. I started late, and I wanted to knock this episode out tonight. You know, the end of the U.S. trials were happening, and so much things happened. BT Awards, so I just wanted to kind of knock out this because I want to come back for tomorrow for Costa More. Miss Love says, I bet he would be more believable if he was coupled up with Rob instead. I don't know. Probably, but I don't know. Nicole chooses Liv, and at that point the girls are like, oh my god, I feel sorry, Cass is over there with no one. I hope Leah chooses her. Kendall does come, and stands behind Rob. Again, most of the guys dapped up Nigel, but went to stand behind Rob, other than Kenny. And then we do see Leah go and tells Cass, "I love you," but she does stand behind Liv. Miguel chooses Rob. So Cass gets no one. Nigel got Kenny. They're the lowest two votes. They get a text. Well, Cass gets a text. Cass and Nigel, you are dumped. And as Rachel says here, I felt so bad for Cass. Yeah, like it was hard. It was sad. It was sad. I do wish somebody could have stood behind her. When we talk about the conversation, I'm gonna get why I kind of also understood Leah's point here. Mary says if Aaron and Kyler would bring the show to the bin, the producers cannot have another bad season. Season 2 is the only one good. Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. Like, I'm not sure if I want Aaron and Kaylor to win. I just don't want it. First of all, I don't want anybody from the UK winning the show. Like, I think it's unfair. And we've already had somebody from the UK win with Zeta. And the only reason why I don't care about that is because she was a black woman. And I know that she never would have had a chance to win in the UK. But Kaylor and Aaron, no, not it for me. B is bringing up the point that everybody else brought up, that Rob is Jeremy. We couldn't get rid of him either. And again, I state, but at least I liked Jeremy. So we do see Liv says that while it was a short time and she didn't feel like Nigel and her were compatible, she has no hard feelings, and she definitely liked him and he'll be fine. He'll find somebody who's more compatible for him. Cass says to the girls in the makeup room, it was embarrassing as hell. I had nobody. And Cass just asks Leah to meet her on the balcony. And as they're talking, Cass says, well, I feel like I had your back in here. I showed you loyalty. And Leah says, I agree. And I understand how you feel. But I was literally wearing Liv's clothes. And we have made up at this point, and she has been there for me. And so because Leah said, yeah, she was literally wearing Liv's clothes, I actually agreed that she should not have been the one to stand behind Cass. Because while Liv probably would have been okay with it because she understood, I do think it could have been used against her at some point. And so I do understand her basically being like, I get it, and I'm sorry. I really wish that I could have been the person to stand behind you, but I couldn't do it in this moment. So Cass says, I understand. I just feel like if there was one person standing behind me, it would have made a difference. And I totally get what she was saying as well. And I wish that they had like them doing that individual checks, because I wish they had gotten to deliberate, and then they could have chosen at least one girl to stand behind her, knowing that Liv would have understood one girl standing behind Cass. It was just totally so sad. It was sad. Leah said that she's just sorry she can't even express it. Nigel says he's happy to have met them. He won't miss Miguel snoring. And Kenny says he's just so humble and down to earth. So Kaz and Nigel both said they're sad they didn't find general connection in the villa, but it's time to go. So let me know, guys. Will you miss Kaz and Nigel? Do you think? I know this vote was definitely unfair, but do you think that they should have stayed in the villa longer than this? So we do get a preview. Tomorrow night is a new villa and the craziest Casa Amor ever. And I was I was wondering, do you think they're combining everybody into one villa? Because I hope they don't do that. I really do. Nobody will explore. Tasha says, standing behind someone that was obviously going home might affect relationships in the house, and it's sad. That's what I'm saying. Like for Leah, especially knowing she was wearing Liv's dress, it would have. It would have. Especially if Liv is starting to get back with Rob, he would have found a way to turn her against Leah using that. I really truly believe that. Denise agrees with me. Yeah, Zita's the only exception. Rachel says, yeah, I'm more mad at production than being mad at Leah. It's their fault for making Kaz feel like shit. Yeah. Cordell would be a great winner. They can send him to traders or the challenge like Justine. Oh yeah, that would be good if they like I can definitely see some of these people on Love Island games. Mary says they should have sent the couple with the least amount of votes home. It was time for Liv to go. You think it was Liv and Nigel who had the least amount of votes? Because I think it was Rob and Kaz. I personally think it was Rob and Kaz. B says Liv and Rob together wouldn't split the vote. They'd get the most votes by a landslide. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that they would split the vote. I just think that we need to get them out before they get that powerful. Danita says, do you people not remember Courtney getting pissed on Love Island games when I can't remember who she was made her? Yes, that was it. I couldn't think of who it was. It was Courtney, and forget who it was that voted against her. She's like, "Well, you're wearing my shit." Was it? Oh shit, I forget who. Ah, and she's like, Leah was worried Liv would be upset, and I think it's a valid reason. And we know Leah watches the show as well. Denise says, were they even in a villa for 48 hours? I mean, maybe 36. Mary says Liv would make a full drama about it with the girls if any of the girls were behind Cass. Yeah, I would just be concerned if she did do it. B says, I will miss them. I like how she saw through Rob immediately, and LIC followed her trend towards men of color. Rachel says, I think the craziest Casa Amor thing makes me feel like a lot of production manipulation. I hate it. Yeah. Oh, yes, it was Courtney and Imani. I couldn't think of Imani's name, but it was Courtney and Imani. Yes, Danita. Yes, it was Courtney and Imani. Woof. Oh, Danita says, I think it was Robin Cass too. Like, so production did an Islander pick. I do think it was them. I think if it was Liv and Nigel, regardless of if Rob was trying to move to her, I think they would have dumped Liv and Nigel and just did bottom couple. I think they were like, oh, we got to save Rob, but let's think of a different way so the audience won't realize what we're trying to do. And we're like, we know what you're trying to do. No, there was none of these people. And I'm laughing that this is entirely Friendship Island. And these people have no problem with it now. Haley says, we need Janae on Traders. She would have people wrapped around her finger with a charm. I know. I would love it. So says, is it just me or does everyone else feel like one of Aaron or Kayla is going to act up in Casa? No, it's not you. I'm calling Kayla. You guys let me know who you're calling to be the one to act up in Casa. Because I think it's Kayla. Liv, not like LIC. Okay. Hakeem and Nigel got the angry black man edit. Yes. Every time. With Liv. And that's why I called it out as a microaggression. She keeps doing this. Again, in Australia, they do have a lot of race problems and they do have a lot of microaggressive issues. So yes, I agree. Skylar says, also correct me if I'm wrong. Usually the couple they show more of going into Casa, since the Casa is filming right now are usually the ones in danger. So cross fingers for Cordell and Serena. Yeah, that's what I said. I think it is, and Danita's saying it here. I think one might flip. Way too much foreshadowing between them in these two episodes. Yeah. Or that they like, that they like basically we need to watch out that they might go crazy. The Mary says the producer set up Kaz by suggesting to her to pick Rob. Sure did. Sure did. Rachel says Aaron will do a madness and then pull a Liam to get Kyler back. Also fair. Also fair. Like I said, I'm calling Kayla, but I can see it. I don't trust either of these two. So I can definitely see it. I can definitely see it. So, you guys, that is the end of the episode. I will be back tomorrow, God willing, God's spirit. And you guys tell me in the comments, who do you think is gonna move mad in Casa? What do you think the producer's gonna try to do for this Casa more to manipulate everybody? And what did you think about this this dumping decision that they decide that, production has just been messy this season with these recoupling decisions. I mean, these voting decisions. So, thank you, Rachel. Rachel says, thanks for the review. Everyone liked the video. So, yes, please make sure for all my new watchers, and thank you to all my vets. And please make sure you like and subscribe my videos, my channels. If you follow me, make sure you're following me on all socials. I do try to glean information, put it out there. And we're trying to get at least this channel to 500. So thank you. Have a good night. It's about 1 a.m. where I am. So thank you guys for rocking with me tonight. Make sure you're following me on all socials. And I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Mary says good night. Danita says good night. And Tia says, thanks, Mika. This was fun. Love you all.